Yes, first time I've heard this song, just listened to it on YouTube, the video to this record. Hadn't heard this one in about 25 years. Count down my fantasy playlist of December 22nd, 1990. Fourth debut on my fantasy playlist, a group from England called Breathe. Does She Love That Man is the name of the record. Let me double check and make sure that's correct. I believe it's called Does She Love That Man by Breathe, which was not one of their biggest hits. Went to number 34 here in the States. Did not even chart in England, I don't think. It did pretty good, did pretty well on the adult charts, adult contemporary charts here in the States. They're from England. They started out as a five-person band. They called themselves Catch 22. All these guys, they were schoolmates at a school in England, in Hampshire in England, and they pared themselves down to a four-man band. This would be by about 1984. Got a deal with A&M Records, and that's when they came out with their signature album, All That Jazz. Which there were three hit records on that album. Two of them I remember clearly. There was another one. Well, Hands to Heaven. That was their first hit. That went to number two. Spring, summer of 1988. VH1. They were all over this record. This was back when VH1 first started out as sort of an adult contemporary version of MTV. And Hands to Heaven went to number two on Billboard's Hot 100. And then How Can I Fall? A lovely record by them. This thing just really tore at the heartstrings. Went to number three on Billboard's Hot 100. That was in the fall of 1988. And they came out with an up-tempo record in early 1989, but I can't. I don't want to bring it up right now. I want to go ahead and get through with this video because it's taking longer to upload these things to my YouTube channel. The bass player, Michael Delahunty, Hunty, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He left the band in 1988, just when they were at the peak of their popularity. The bass player left the band. They dropped down to three members. They came out with their, excuse me, I believe it's their sophomore album called Peace of Mind, but did not do as well. That was in 1990, and that yielded Does She Love That Man, which came out, which is at number 37 on my fantasy playlist. Breathe, they were just a laid back band. I have to admit, I hated them when they first came out. I couldn't get into Hands to Heaven, but when How Can I Fall came out, that just did it for me right there. And looking back on Hands to Heaven, I appreciate that song a lot more now than I did back then. They combine light jazz with pop music, and their sound sort of reminiscent of, oh gosh, well, Air Supply and Rick Ashley. Here's Breathe on my fantasy playlist, December 22nd, 1990.